everybody out there. Salute to everybody. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. All the men, women, children listening. All of the midgets listening. Salute to all the midgets out there. I don't think midgets get enough love. Shout out, if you're a midget in here, press the number 1 if you a midget with a big ass head, little ass elbows. Salute to y'all. Salute to all the midgets. Salute to everybody up in here. Thank y'all all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. We about to have a token wake-up call. This was some funny shit. You know, Jason Whitlock he was pro-black on ESPN back in the day. He was hella pro-black 20 years ago. For those of you who don't know, Jason Whitlock is a sports writer. And he was hella pro-black when Ralph Wiley died. He promised to keep the mantle because Ralph Wiley called out the system. And when Ralph Wiley died, he promised to keep up the mantle and hold the mantle. And with that, he failed. So he's got fired from ESPN. He worked at Fox Sports for a while. He worked at CBS Sportsline for a while. And he's not that good at what he does. And so he's good in some ways, but he's not playing this. He has never been good enough to stay anywhere for a long time. So he's rebirthed himself since the Trump administration got going into being the Negro conservative. And we all know that Negro conservative role is a role that black people can fit in well, no matter how rotund, you dig? And I'm a fat person, so this is a fat on fat conversation. Me and him can talk. The rest of you skinny niggas sit down. You know what I mean? Let us fat people have our dialogue without you in shape, 6 ab having ass niggas getting in the way. All right, I got this. Let this be fat on fat confrontation. You dig what I'm saying? But anyway, people, he's been somebody who's found new life on the internet as the Negro Christian conservative. And he's been playing to that audience, and not very good, by the way. You know, anybody that can see through anything can see through this motherfucker. Even though even though he needs to go to a specialized x-ray machine when he needs some shit done. You know, you can see through this shit. So, Nick Fuentes, bitch-ass white supremacist Nick Fuentes, you see that last name. All the white supremacists aren't just Anglo-Saxons anymore. He called Jason Whitlock out for being a token. He called out Jason Whitlock and his phony fakeness. We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about Candace Owens. Candace Owens and a lot of her conservative friends are now disenchanted with RFK, with Trump. And they're now saying everything's been a lie. And you're starting to see these conservatives. Look at these animals. These animals that spend all day talking about black people. Candace Owens with her conservatives, going at Robert Kennedy Jr. and all of these other conservatives going at other conservatives. And Nick Fuentes goes at Jason Whitlock. And Jason Whitlock, instead of going back at Nick Fuentes, he responds and starts talking about black people like a bitch. And this is why I don't respect him. So what we're going to do is we're going to play video of all this stuff. We're going to play video of it. And then we're going to get my reaction to the video. I'm not going to put the whole video up. But I'll show you guys it, but I will have a screensaver that's over top because I don't want to get any strikes. You dig what I'm saying? So this is about to be very fun, very interesting. Again, salute to everybody. Make sure you get your intellectual power If you ain't taking your intellectual power yet, take yours now so that you will have the brain capacity to digest, to have the mental enzymes to help you digest everything mentally we're going to be talking about today. You dig? Make sure you do that. But before I get started, I want to say welcome chat room. Thank y'all. What's up, Shyla? Lady Hotep Denise. Appreciate y'all stuns. Purple Soul Sinister. Appreciate everybody. G Mars, I can't get to everybody, but I appreciate. If I didn't say your name, it's not because I don't fuck with you. It's just we got to get it going. So, again, I appreciate y'all for joining. We about to get into it, and and before we get all the way into it, also, I did talk about this earlier. I put a video up about this earlier because I'm not going to spend too much time talking about today. LeBron James got his own Barbie doll. This is some of the funniest shit ever. The first pro athlete, to get his own Barbie doll. Before we get into it, I figure we can get a good laugh at this shit right here. And why is the Barbie doll on LeBron's lap? Why does that nigga look like Kevin Samuels? Nigga, is that Kevin Samuels James? What the fuck? He dressed like Kevin Samuels, rest in peace. That's the walk LeBron had when he picked up his purse and walked out when he faked that hand injury after getting his ass whooped in the finals. We talk about how the effeminization of the black male. The effeminization of the black male. There's a reason why there were no male Barbies before now. It's the reason why Greg Louganis didn't get his own Barbie doll. It's the reason why Bruce Jenner, and you see Bruce Jenner's a whole goddamn woman now. But it's the reason why there was no Bruce Jenner Barbie. There's a reason why there was no Larry Bird Barbie or Magic Johnson Barbie. There was a reason for that when the social order was intact. They didn't break the ground with a Tom Brady Barbie. You did. They didn't break the ground. They didn't break grounds with a Luka Doncic Barbie. They said, nah, we don't go to the black man and give him a Barbie doll. It's the reason why I say what I say when it comes to propaganda. We've been talking about propaganda. Go and watch last night's build. Last night we had a build talking about how propaganda works, and that was the precursor to today's show. So go back and watch my live last night with me talking about this propaganda and talking about how they frame us and stuff like that. That'll give you more of a context to what we're gonna be talking about today. All right. But salute to everybody. Understand this shit out here is all propaganda. All of it. This is all propaganda. G Mars asks, who's supposed to play with that? Every nigga that will argue about LeBron James more than he'll defend his own people. Any nigga that spend more time arguing about LeBron James GOAT status and then say, hey, it's not a big deal that that white boy, what's his name with the mustache, Andrew Schultz, is fighting for the right to disrespect black women. The niggas who think that's okay will fight you tooth and nail if you say LeBron James is not in your top 5. Those are the niggas that's gonna play with that dog. They knew which nigga to get to give a dog to first. But Rocky over here just finished eating. He over here. You good, Rocky? All right. Somebody say you act like said, shut the fuck up, nigga. I didn't act like nobody was down with us. I said they using LeBron James to effeminize sports, and they are. Look at how you acting. Oh, don't talk about my guy. I'm gonna go with yours. You just proved my point, nigga. with your friends. It used to be beat your enemy, knock that nigga out. That's some masculine shit. Now I'm not gonna team with you, nigga. I'm gonna beat your ass. That's some masculine shit. I'm gonna play with everybody and I'm gonna make it easy on myself. Oh God. And then when I lose, I'm gonna carry a person, fake a hand injury. Fuck out of here, nigga. Back to what we're talking about. So let's get in. Miss Marty said LeBron Doggos with a ball spot kids and cut her. Teacher said, and this is a woman, she said, I'm a football fan. If I ever see any football player come out with a dog, I'll never watch football again. You see how sissified sports has gotten? You got a grown-ass man over here. Defending a doll. Where are we going, people? Y'all, how are you hating and you talking about a doll? Like, men shouldn't have Barbie dolls. Like, athletes shouldn't have Barbie dolls. We trying to get over this trend. You already got trans women playing in women's sports, trans dudes. And you got another nigga over here defending male athlete Barbie dolls. And now if that was a LeBron G.I. Joe with a kung fu grip, I'd be like, shit, that's cool. Nigga, if it was a LeBron X-Men's character, yeah, cool, let's roll with it. No, that shit's a Barbie doll. Barbie, nigga, at some point you gotta draw the line. I don't care how much of a bronsexual you are. You be like, nigga, I ain't giving my son no fucking Barbie doll. At some point, you niggas got get the balls out your jaws. You dig? At some point, y'all gotta pull the balls out your jaws and be like, hey, that's a little bit too much. At some point. Weirdos. At some point. You know, we gotta man up at some point. Like Judge Joe Brown say. The fuck is you niggas talking about? But anyway, I digress. Let's get into, we 15 minutes in, make the timestamp at the 15-minute mark when we go into talking about the topic. Let's go over here to, here it is. So this right here is this is how it all started. This is how I noticed everything. Let me see here. It was this video right here. And you'll see Jason Whitlock's response. Here we go. So let's listen to what this guy Nick Fuentes had to say. And then we will get into it. Here's where this is the post that got us going. I'm gonna speed it up some because it's like 5 minutes. Here you go.
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That
He's coming at him, ain't he? You are a black guy. And by the way, don't he look like Montana Max from Animaniacs? This is Nick Fuentes. We're going to call him Montana Max. So we're going to see Montana Max go. Let's keep going.
That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't. Because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white. So there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows. And everybody's sick of it. Especially in the conservative space, that blacks have had it easy. It is, and I don't doubt that he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's genuine. But you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on.
He hit him with the pal. You know when a white man says pal, he is not fucking around. When a white man says pal, nigga, it's over. He's not playing with you. He's coming for you. He's hide your kids, hide your wife. When a white man says pal, it's over, nigga. Let's keep going.
Pal, you have training wheels on. You have training wheels. Person, I'm sure he's genuine, but you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be fucking gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good fucking thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaffer. You would have been fired like every other white person. Everybody knows that. Take a good look at everything around you, because you did not compete to get that. You got it because people feel sorry. People don't want to be called racist. They feel sorry. They need a black person to give them credibility. And if you can't see that, then you're just as ignorant as BLM. If you can't see that, if you can't be honest with yourself about that, you're just as ignorant as the marchers. As a matter of fact, you are as ignorant as the marchers. Just another ignorant crybaby.
You see how they go right? It always comes back to us. Jason Whitlock is on his side of the fence. And he says you're as ignorant as BLM, the marchers, not the school shooters. Pay attention to how much it always comes back to us for these people that hate us.
And you know what? I have no hatred. I really don't.
Yeah, you do.
I'm a little bit frustrated with the fact that people are going to challenge my credibility based on what I say, knowing what I've sacrificed, what has happened to me, what has happened to my family. And I'm not trying to play the world's smallest violin, but my sacrifice has been considerable. I have had a considerably more difficult go than almost anybody, because I was willing to tell the truth before it was fashionable about Israel, about race, about globalization, about a wide variety of subjects. Ever since I was 18 years old, I have been censored. I have been financially blacklisted, had to endure financial hardship. I've been targeted. My family's been targeted. So for somebody to come and challenge.
But listen to the self-aggrandizement. He said he challenged race before it was fashionable. When has it not been fashionable to talk race in America? Like, does he know who Howard Stern is? Bill O'Reilly? Sean Hannity? Breitbart? I mean, this goes back to what, the 1600s? And this little Mad Max motherfucker's acting like he the first one. Let's keep going.
My credibility, or whether I'm being honest, it's totally outrageous. I have no hatred in my heart for people. I have no hatred in my heart for anybody, for that matter, and not for a group based on their race. And I have friends from all different races. It's not hatred. You know, we can't play that card all the time and bitch about racism every single time. With that,
hey, black people, we can always play that card because they're the ones who put the card in the deck. Racism, when you look at the playing cards, racism is the Joker. The Joker don't have to be in every game. You can choose to put the Joker in the game, but they chose for the game of America. They chose to put that Joker in there. And that racism card, hell yeah, we can always play it. But let's keep going.
Being said, and it's important to clarify that because you don't want to be typecast as the angry white man that's trying to gin up. I'm not trying to gin up racial resentment. I'm really not. I'm trying to tell you how white people feel. And I'm trying to tell you the truth. And here's the truth of the matter. White people are just fucking done. We're done with the excuses. We're done with the white guilt. We are done with crybaby, ethnic narcissist black people that cannot handle an adult conversation about race. We're done. We pay up the ass in property taxes not to live near these people. We work hard. We pay our taxes. We go to work. We work our fingers to the bone to create a good quality of life for ourselves and for our families. And it has been ceaselessly sabotaged for decades by these fucking animals. And by that, I don't mean every black person. I mean these predators. I mean these opportunists. I mean these adolescents. Where are the parents? Where's the community now? Where are they? I'm talking about these young adolescent men, black men, that film themselves running over a physics professor on his bike in New Mexico, laughing and kill him. I'm talking about the young black men that break into 20 businesses in Downers Grove overnight and loot the cash registers. I'm talking about the teen takeovers, the gangbangers. We don't want to live near this stuff anymore. And we all know what's going on. We all know who's doing it. We all know what it is. And we're sick and tired of black people not being able to be honest about it, not being able to take any responsibility. It's always someone else's fault. It's always some white person's fault. It's racism, it's poverty, it's the culture, it's the New Deal, the Great Society, it's Lyndon Johnson, it's the Democrats. You know what? No, I think it's you. I think it's just you.
So he basically came right out and said, Jason Whitlock, you still a nigga, and I'm putting you with the rest of them niggas that break into the stores. This is somebody, Jason Whitlock, he's basically telling you he's putting you with all the criminals that they put on the news. You notice how they don't ever bring up all the meth in their society. They don't bring up all the rape in their society, all the crime and murders, and the fact that white on white crime is white person is 88% of the time was going to be killed by another white person. You know? So you see that. You see him getting that, and look at Jason Whitlock's response. He says he went full Stephen A. Smith, I see. I'll address this Fed on Wednesday. So Jason Whitlock still found a way to go at Nick Fuentes using a black person's name. And so that's what he's talking about. Now, I want to play you guys this Jason Whitlock's response. And then we'll get to Candace Weird Ass Owens. This is what Jason Whitlock said is about. He thought that Nick Fuentes is basically subtweeting him on this tweet right here where he says, so tired of hearing black crime is caused by black culture. For some reason, rap music doesn't make white people steal cars and shoot people. Well, they steal cars and shoot people all the time, so what does? It only works on black people. So basically, this is what Jason Whitlock is responding to.
Quote, black culture. For some reason, rap music doesn't make white people steal cars and shoot.
Let me put a picture up. Because I don't want to get no goddamn Strizike. No. Wrong one. Let me just go to this screen. You'll see it over here. All right, let me, what the F? What in the F? Hold on. There we go. This is Jason Whitlock telling you how everything got started.
People. It only works on black people. I'll deal with that post here in a second. He followed it up with a second post just minutes later. Just another in a long list of excuses. Leftists blame it on racism and poverty. Conservatives blame it on culture and godlessness. Blacks create the same culture, he puts culture in quotations, from L.A. to Baltimore, from Haiti to London, from Sudan to South Africa, from prehistory to now. It's race. And so...
so basically, that's the basis for these two back and forth. Jason Whitlock says the problem of black America is black culture. Nick Fuentes says the problem of black America is the black race itself. That it's not a culture thing, it's a race thing. And he's saying that black people need to basically get our races fucked up and everything. And it's throwing Jason Whitlock off. And now you're going to see Jason Whitlock's whole ass response. I'm telling you guys, this shit's funny. You guys, like, I'm telling you that we don't watch this to buy in. I'm just giving you guys the news. I told you guys when I read the cards for the year, what did I say? Chat room, what did I say when I read the cards for the year? People on the same side of the fence are going to be fighting each other. Did I not say that? I said, look for this 9 of Hearts year, 2025, to be people who generally agree, for the most part, on the surface level, start to unveil and open up to what's really going on underneath. Press number 1 if you remember me saying that, chat room. It's very specific over what kind of division we're going to see this year. And we're watching this shit play out right now. People on the same side of the fence going at each other.
Where he says my role is to confer dignity on white conservatives.
This is the part I'm going to play back. This is Jason Whitlock. I'm going to show you guys what I'm looking at right here. This is the screen. This is all on Jason Whitlock's page. This is you see here, this is where we at. So I'm just showing y'all this is I took a screenshot of what's going on so y'all can listen to what's going on. There's no other images being put up.
Where he says my role is to confer dignity on white conservatives. Let's play SOT 12.
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't, because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white, so there's a limit on what I can say.
That part of that is Nick Fuentes has gotten demonetized on basically all the platforms, I think, except for Rumble. He's gotten demonetized, and because of the racist things that he says. And he's very angry that Jason Whitlock basically says the same things that he say, and he keeps to keep getting paid. And that's a very legit argument. You're starting to see people pocket watching. You're starting to see, and that's very real. You know, Jason Whitlock does say what Nick Fuentes can't say. But what Nick Fuentes doesn't understand is that's how white supremacy works. White supremacist talking points will always get airtime because we're in a time now where we just been in a time to where white people can't necessarily be the face of that. You know, especially since the 90s, they started to clean up, you know, they really wanted to clean up their perception, you know. You can't have white faces talking this stuff. So them same white people that would have paid, see, Nick Fuentes is mad because if this was if this was the 60s, if this was the 40s, he'd have no issues getting jobs. If this was the 90s, he'd have no issues getting jobs saying the things that he says for those conservative outlets. You know, he'd be on Fox News if this was the 90s or the early 2000s. But, you know, they can't necessarily be as open like that anymore. So the white supremacists, they hire people and they push and promote people like Jason Whitlock, Stephen A. Smith, and these guys to push their narratives out on us. And now the white boys that can't say this stuff are pissed. They want to be able to not only say what they want to say, they want to be able to make money being white supremacists. So now the first people who are in line to get picked off are the Negro mouthpieces for white supremacy. They're the ones right in line because the way the white supremacists like Nick Fuentes, the way they see it, they see these black people as the problem that's in the way. They don't understand the system. They don't see the system for what it is. The way they see the world is just normal. They don't see the hidden hand at work. They just see this nigger in the way. And that's the fight that we having. Let's keep going.
There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows. And everybody's sick of it, especially in the conservative space, that blacks have had it easy. It is, and I don't doubt that he's a sincere person.
And you know what? Nick Fuentes actually has a point. Blacks have most definitely had it easy in the conservative space. All they got to do is be willing to get called a few N-words as long as they're willing to get kicked around like a bunch of listless idiots, which they are, as long as they're willing to get kicked around and shit on every now and again, they do have it easy. YouTube will promote a video of a Negro conservative 10 times before they promote intelligent black thought like what you get here on this channel. People like Jason Whitlock do have it easier. Stephen A. Smith, they're all the same thing. Black people that say the things white people can't. Jesse Lee Peterson, Larry Elder. I remember Larry Elder when he was on talk radio here in LA back in the 90s. You can be Larry Elder and be all over the radio. You can be black Ben Carson was somebody that we love. I did a book report on Ben Carson in the 90s. But then the minute he started talking that white supremacist shit, he goes right to getting a job in the White House. So the white boy got another good point. Black conservatives most definitely do have it easy. Yeah, Anton Daniels, Charleston White, they allow those people get platformed. If you black and willing to say, what about black on black crime? Andrew Tate, trying to hide his race, suspected charges having ass niggas. You do Tommy Sotomayor back in the day. You get pushed in the algorithm. Now, if you stupid like Tommy Sotomayor and those guys, you go too far and get demonetized too. See, Nick Fuentes ain't bring up that part. You know, you will get demonetized too if you go overboard. Jason Whitlock isn't stupid. He knows how to say what he says and not go overboard, so he can keep his monetization. Officer Tatum, yeah. So you got to understand that. If you wouldn't say black culture is trash, you get pushed to the front of the line. White or black. You just got to be smart enough to not go way over the line. You motherfuckers get pushed to the front of the line and then want to do a goddamn reverse triple somersault dive over the line. That's because you stupid. But let's keep going.
I'm sure he's a sincere person. I'm sure he's genuine. But you are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on.
Pal!
You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be fucking gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good fucking thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaffer.
So that was Nick Fuentes. Now this here is Jason Whitlock's response. We're going to play a couple minutes of his response. And you're going to see how spineless, how weak this jellyfish is with his hairpiece on. I don't trust niggas with hairpieces. I don't. When it's gone, nigga, let it go. Now, if you're an actor, that's one thing, doing the job. But Jason Whitlock, you lost your hair in the 90s, nigga. The fuck you doing with that crop top on your head? Let's listen to this coon-ass response, y'all.
I'm glad I remembered that clip because there's a couple things going on here. There's jealousy.
And mind you guys, this is how slow this nigga talk. I'm about to play this at 1.5 speed. I got to speed it up because he talks so goddamn slow. But he's calling Nick Fuentes jealous. Let's keep going.
On here. There's jealousy. There is some sort of belief that I'm immune to the consequences of my journalistic standards, of my approach to journalism. How dare you interview E. Michael Jones and, if you were white, you would have been fired. And he's comparing me to Elijah Schaffer. I've had Elijah Schaffer on this show years ago when he worked at the Blaze. And when you are 57 56 at that time, or when you start here at age 52, 53, when you have put together, when God has put together for you.
He's using a God hustle. Pay attention to how this dude uses Jesus as a front.
The journalistic career that I've put together, and I'm sorry, that God has put together for me, and I say that in all sincerity, that the things that I accomplished as a journalist, and they're on record, there's no question about it, that God allowed me to be one of the best sports journalists.
So he starts off basically, and I'm putting this at 1.5 times speed to show you how slow this motherfucker talk. Watch out for them slow talking, them slow Bible thumping ass niggas. They ain't talking about shit. So he basically is mad that Nick Fuentes is comparing him to a white guy that's half his age. And what Jason Whitlock doesn't understand is, again, we are one big nigga. Yes, you will be compared to a white guy half your age, because you as a black man will never be seen as a full-grown adult in the eyes of a white supremacist like Nick Fuentes. You stupid motherfucker.
And this will be offensive to the people that hate me, but it's just reality. In American history, accomplished some things, wrote stories that major national impact, time after time after time again, exposed truths that no one else was going to expose. And I'm in my 50s, and he's comparing me to a child who was at the beginning of his career in the media.
Yes, dummy.
And expects that a child in this profession.
So notice, he's now, and again, I put it at 1.5 speed. He's gone a minute, he's gone about 2 minutes now, crying about Nick Fuentes, comparing him to somebody half his age. You notice when Jason Whitlock got smoked for Stephen A. Smith or another black man, Black Society, he goes at Black Society. He still has yet, 2 minutes into his soliloquy, he still has yet to address Nick Fuentes directly. Let's keep going.
That me and Elijah Schaffer should be treated the same. That's a level of privilege that
I fast forwarded a minute and he's still crying, bitching about him being treated on the same level as a white man half his age. I fast forwarded a minute, y'all. So we just skipped a minute of bull jive and we still on this bullshit. Let's keep going.
Want that perhaps is irrational. And you know, the assertion that, you know, I've been given everything, oh boy, that's quite a stretch. But he can have that narrative. Doesn't bother. I don't want to remotely sound defensive about it. But the one thing I do want to answer to is like this thought that I'm here to confer dignity on white conservatives. I'm here to defend Christian values.
So he's going to that point that Nick Fuentes made, that Jason Whitlock thinks that he's here to basically shine light on white conservatism. Listen to this dodge this nigga goes into now. This nigga's about to start talking about all the Jesus bullshit. He's about to sound like TD Fakes right here. Listen to this shit.
But the one thing I do want to answer to is like this thought that I'm here to confer dignity on white conservatives. I'm here to defend Christian values. I'm here to defend anyone that stands on Christian values. And I don't want Christian values demonized as racist. And so anybody that is standing on the truth, the historical account in this Bible, and stands on that truth firmly and points back to this Bible and his word and his ways. And I've watched the culture try to demonize people standing on this word and this truth. And they're trying to cleverly paint it as racist, and only white conservatives do this or do that, or white evangelicals, or Uncle Tom black people. Yeah, I want to confer dignity to God's truth. And I don't want it smeared and promoted as racist or harmful for black people. And that's what they've been doing. Hey, if you follow the Bible, black people, that's going to harm you.
He's talking about, you still ain't going to Nick Fuentes. He's on his heels. Nick Fuentes is like 1/3 this dude's age. And Jason Whitlock is on his heels being defensive, basically tooted his asshole in the air so Nick Fuentes can fuck him if he wanted to. Now listen to him right now. He's about to go right back to talking about black people.
And I am here to object to that. And I will defend anybody that I believe is following this Bible. And I will call out anybody that's pretending to follow the Bible while pointing people straight to hell. And so that's why I've had to, from time to time, not from time, pretty consistently on this show, like, hey man, this stuff going on in the pulpit and these black churches and all this racial idolatry and all this understanding of the world they're passing on to their congregants, that this is a battle of black versus white. That's why I call, hey man, that's not biblical. There's no way. We can go to Ephesians.
This fat fuck called out Ephesians. This nigga must want to e-feed himself. This motherfucker just said Ephesians. The white boy called you out, pal. And you calling out Ephesians. Nigga, if you don't sit the e-fuck down, you e-fuck ass nigga. Listen to this shit. I had to rewind it a little bit.
There's no way. We can go to Ephesians. We're one in Christ.
This nigga looks like an Ephesian. Talking about going to Ephesians. If you don't sit your Ephesian ass on down, nigga, with your fake ass hairpiece, looking like you just finished drinking Ripple. Listen to this shit.
We can go to the Bible and find no mention of race. And I know that y'all try to find, well, I think it's inferred in this.
Now he's talking about we can go to the Bible and talk about no mention of race. So now, when the white boy is on your black ass, now you're talking about the Bible doesn't mention race. Something that was written 2,000 years ago doesn't mention terms created in the United States of America in the late 1600s. Hell, even the King James revision of the Bible was written in 1620? White supremacy as we know it, the terms white and black, that didn't come into the 1680s? After Bacon's Rebellion? So his excuse is a doctrine that was written thousands of years before, or let's just take the King James version of it, 100-some-odd goddamn years before the current racial construct of America was created. He's saying that's not in the Bible. This is how dumb he thinks we are. Well, I take it back. He's not talking to me and you. He's not talking to us in the chat. This is how dumb he knows them fucking conservatives, white folks that listen to him are.
And I think if you understand when Paul called out Peter, that was really about race, I've heard it all. It's all hot garbage. It's not true. It's your understanding. And you shouldn't lean into your understanding. Because trust me, if we were in a battle of black versus white, one of them early chapters in the Old Testament, one of them early chapters in the New Testament would have been like, hey, let me tell y'all about this black versus white battle that's going to rule the world. Doesn't do that. People that want to lean into their own understanding pass along that understanding to justify the racial idolatry they use to build an audience. Louis Farrakhan did it and does it. Nick Fuentes did it and does it.
He just compared Louis Farrakhan to Nick Fuentes, and that's how he addressed that. Salute to Justin Hunt. Follow his channel. He quoted me earlier on his show. Salute to the company, man. Follow his channel and watch our interview. Yeah. What's up, Felix Speaks? I'm gonna get to this super chat thing. We're gonna get right to it. Let me get to these super chats, then we're gonna get right back to it. I got 2 super chats to read. I just donated to Carmelo Anthony. They shut down the GoFundMe, but the GoSend is donated as Ricky Schroeder. Appreciate that super chat, Felix Speaks. Yeah. Salute to big ups to that Carmelo Anthony family in that situation. But again, like I said, I'm not getting into too many details of it on this channel because I don't let my emotions get riled up over the shit. But hey, support. Black Sigma says, let me remind the audience, Jason had a cringe interview with Pearl Davis, who, by the way, did a softball interview with Nick Fuentes. I got to go back and see that. Thank you for the super chat, Black Sigma. So this is what's going on. They're fighting, and you notice how he brought up Stephen A. Smith. He brought up Nick Fuentes brought up Black Lives Matter. And even in their conservative fight between each other, they still got to talk about us. What does that tell you? Why am I having this conversation? I'm here to point out, first off, I like exploiting schisms in other people's communities. They exploit schisms in our community all the goddamn time. So when I got a chance to lash back, I'm going to do it. Petty, 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 petty. Yes, the fuck I am. Petty. So what you see is what's going on here is you see that you have a group of people who are not self-reflective. They don't look inside. School shootings can happen all day, every day. You see Trump and Musk using the M1 visa program to really displace white jobs. You see a lot of white people losing jobs in the government, USAID. Trump is letting all of these white jobs, firing these people like crazy that work in the government. But the racism is so strong that they can't take a step back and say, hey, let's look at the playing field here. These people are so focused on us that they turn around, they looking at us while the government is pulling out his big steel rod dick and running through these motherfuckers. They done did NAFTA, all kind of, these people done got NAFTA up out of them, out of their jobs back in the day. They got all this outsourcing. They got this corporate monopoly bullshit. All of the corporate mergers and takeovers of the 80s and the 90s. Remember back in the 80s and 90s, there were actually enough stores to stock every mall in the city. They were still building malls in the 80s and the 90s. Shit, the West Side Pavilion is now a fucking tech campus for Google. The only mall we really got here now is a Fox Hills Mall, and the Beverly Center's damn empty. You used to have Robinsons, May Company, Bullock's, the Broadway, Macy's, JCPenney, Mervyn's. Nigga, now if your mall ain't got a Mercy's or a Nordstrom's, it ain't got a department store. We used to have Woolworth, Montgomery Ward, nigga, JJ Newberry's, Thrifty, Kmart, Target. It used to be a lot of stuff, but these corporate mergers have been coming together, and what has it done? It's displaced black people out and white people, all Americans, whether you're white or black. We've been getting shuffled around and dislocated. The government broke the contract of the New Deal back in the 70s. They created a New Deal, and that shit lasted from the 40s to the 70s. And if your mom and dad got a job back in the 80s, hopefully they were able to ride that motherfucker out through retirement. Thank God my parents did. But a lot of people who grew up in the 90s, you had to deal with parents that lost their jobs. You had to go from living in a house to living in an apartment. You had to go from living on one side of town to another side of town, or possibly even moving states, because the corporations broke the social contract. But instead of focusing on that, they're focused on us. Pay attention. This is why you don't get angry. You strategize. You pay attention. It's good to see who's out here and how they think. Not so you can get angry and want to fight somebody. Then we past that. So you know who you're dealing with, so you can make the right chess moves in your life. A lot of black people go to thinking that they can depend on these people, like Tommy Sotomayor did. And then when his ass got demonetized, nobody gave a fuck. Cynthia G, she thought she can do it. Nobody gave a fuck. Myron Gaines. We see Thought Crimes had a good video. I'm gonna get to Candace Owens, but we about to transition to Candace Owens. But Thought Crimes put out a real interesting thought into the ethers that I've been about 2 weeks ago that I've been sort of in my mind, and I always give them credit for this thought that they put in my mind when they were talking about the backing, how it's possible that Kanye, Candace Owens, Myron Gaines, Andrew Tate, they're all being backed by the same controlled opposition folks. Because one thing we know about America works through controlled opposition. And they put that thought in the ethers. And I go check out Thought Crimes' channel so that they can give you a greater breakdown of that whole thought, because this is their thought, not mine, but it's been something that's been circulating in my mind. Yeah, you said Cynthia G, that's the name you ain't heard of in a minute, right? Remember she was on Boyce Watkins' channel? Pro-black, pro-black, pro-black. Then the minute she saw she can get some white conservative dollars, she went that way. They dropped her and that wig off and that hairline, wherever the fuck she got it from. Ain't heard from her since. Boyce Watkins has brought a lot of suspected people around us, man, hasn't he? He gave us Cynthia G. He gave us, man, I'm not getting into all that. That's another topic. But let's get into Candace Owens and what she's crying about. Candace Owens, I'm setting the stage here, is saying that RFK has been compromised, and she's now questioning right-wing politics. So listen to her questioning stuff, and let us all say, ding, 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 ding. You think? Let's listen. I can turn on her channel. I don't know. She's like demonetized. So, and Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens is demonetized too for saying the same shit that you say.
And I realized at least this. I've definitely changed. I think my positions have not moved, but I'm completely done. I mean, totally and completely done with the left versus right game in politics, because it is now just so abundantly obvious that there is something much more sinister that is happening. When we elect politicians, they're on a platform, they say this.
I keep telling y'all, you could fit a whole eye bulb between her two eyes. She could have three eyes and still have about an inch of space between each eye. You gotta watch out for these people whose eyes are too far apart. You gotta watch out for amphibian eyes. All right? You gotta watch out for amphibian eyes. If they can see what's coming your way from 370 degrees, don't trust them.
They perform, they promise us, this is gonna be the mandate, I'm gonna clean up DC. And then we send them to DC and something happens. Something magical happens. And suddenly that magical thing is that really nothing they said they were going to do happens. The world really is becoming a stage. Maybe it always was a stage. And like I said, it doesn't matter who you elect. So no, there's no pivot. Like, I wish it was Kamala Harris. No, okay? It does not matter who you elect. It seems to be the same thing that we see over and over again. Politicians selling out the people that voted for them. I think Dave Smith, you guys know I love The Problem with Dave Smith is his podcast, summed it up really well when he looked at just the last 30 days of politics and said this. Take a listen.
I couldn't imagine whoever else the director of national intelligence was going to be being better than Tulsi Gabbard. I couldn't imagine whoever the head of the FBI being better than Kash Patel, or whoever the health secretary being better than Bobby Kennedy. But at the same time, you know, you got Tulsi, cheering on leveling an apartment building. Literally, as they're saying to him, "Hey, we traced Missile Guy back to his apartment building where his girlfriend lives. So we leveled the building," and she's sending like thumbs up emojis, and saying, "Job well done, team." Every time I hear from Kash Patel lately, it's never about the criminals in government anymore. This guy was on a goddamn media tour for 2 years. Everything he ever said was that there's all these criminals in the FBI. We got to get these people who committed all these heinous crimes against our republic. Not talking about that anymore today. Now he's talking about bringing down drug dealers and sex traffickers. It's like, okay, but that's not what you were saying before. And Bobby Kennedy is out fighting the real health crisis, which is anti-Semitism. So I'm just saying, looking around the room, looking around the administration at this point, I think we got the positives out of Donald Trump that we would get. But man, this all just points in such a bad direction. And it's disappointing. It's just really disappointing. I knew I would be disappointed, but it is on the level of a Greek tragedy that these guys had this mandate and this opportunity, and they're just it all up.
Yeah, now that Dave Smith puts it that way, I feel like maybe it's not us that's pivoting, but it's them. Like there's just some magic pivot that happens when you get to DC. And to build on that, may I ask the question, who the heck is controlling RFK Jr.'s X account? Am I allowed to ask that question?
So I want to play that part for you just to show that these are the same people that say, black people, you don't get what you want because you don't play the game right. Black people, you need to stop and get off the Democratic plantation because the Republicans are going to work better for you. Black people don't get any rights because we don't lobby. And these are the same people who always telling us we don't get what we don't get because we did something wrong. Now, both white and black on the conservative side, they're starting to see that nobody gets what they want as far as the common people, me and you. It all goes to the corporations. But they know one thing, the corporations and the government got one ace in the hole. And their ace is race. The ace is race. That's the ace. All these things going on in America, let's pay Jason Whitlock to talk about it so we can keep the race thing going. Nick Fuentes, instead of looking in the mirror and saying what's wrong with white society, sending all these white jobs to Japan and China, not Japan, but Taiwan and China over the last 50 years. What's wrong with white society pulling all these industry jobs and sending them off across the world? What's wrong with white society that allows all of these schools to get shot up? What's wrong with us? What's wrong with this government? Why am I struggling and broke, Nick Fuentes? Why can't I get paid, Nick Fuentes? Instead of you saying, why can I get paid? Because this country has an abundance of wealth that even if I wasn't demonetized, if the average American citizen was getting paid their worth, my listeners could be Patreon and I could be making money over there. But you don't ask that question, Nick Fuentes. You stay focused on black people. Candace Owens, on one hand, she talks about, just like Jason Whitlock, what's wrong with black society. She talks about black culture. Candace Owens talks about black culture being the problem. And the problem with black culture is we celebrate degeneracy. We celebrate criminals. Yet, at the same time, Candace Owens talks about us doing celebrating criminals. Let me go to her channel. Where is it at? Where was I at? This shit moving slow now. Can y'all see me? This shit moving slow. I want to go to her channel. What the fuck is shit moving so hurry the fuck up, computer, goddammit. I don't pay all this goddamn money for the internet for this shit to be pinwheeling. Come on. Y'all just raise the internet bill by $20. Motherfucker, I better not get one goddamn pinwheel the rest of my goddamn life. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. The same woman that talks about black society having issues because we defend criminals has just started a whole series talking about the Harvey Weinstein case and basically why he should be pulled out of prison. She'll, on one hand, talk about Harvey Weinstein and Andrew Tate in positive lights, but then say something's wrong with black culture. And the struggle continues. Math Hoffa. And notice after that, what's his name? Fat Joe interview. You ain't been seeing him much. Math Hoffa, an immigrant black that likes to go at black Americans, is having a money issue with the studio, and he's actually was calling out racism. It's now all of a sudden about race and discrimination. That's your studio. I don't want to play somebody else's video. I thought it was an article. I did watch some videos, but I don't want to play any videos. I want to see if there's any articles written on it. But Math Hoffa, the guy who likes to show black Americans in a negative light, he now can't get into his studio's having some issues. Money's old. He's calling discrimination. You got Adam 22 saying that the situation with his studio, he's going to have to downsize, playing upon black criminality. We're starting to see, this is what we wanted with the Trump administration, y'all. And this is why I'm not worried about tariffs and none of this shit. And the reason why I'm not worried, because whatever comes our way as black people, I have no doubt that we're going to make $1 out of 15 cents. We're going to find a way. Not saying it's not going to be hard. But what's going on with Trump, this whole fluctuation that we have going on right now is forcing people to look at themselves. How long are you going to keep blaming black people for your deficiencies? How long are you going to keep blaming black people for you acting and looking like a walrus, Jason Whitlock? How long is Stephen A. Smith, old Jeffrey Osborne ass, going to be able to use black people as a scapegoat when these same conservative white folks that he's trying to appeal to don't have food on their table? I want y'all to look at some of these comments. If you want to know how those folks, the Jason Whitlock fan base, is taking this news, let's read through the comments. But first, make sure you go to intellectualpower.net. Type in the product code D Brown. Product code D Brown. Also, peace pads. Get yours for the ladies. That's for you. And then we have a cultural event coming in Compton, May 3rd, on reproductive health. Make sure that you sign up right now. The link is in the description. Make sure you sign up right now for your free slot for this event in Compton, California, May 3rd. All right? So, back to what we're talking about. Let's look at some of the comments here. These comments are hilarious. I know let me see if I can excuse me. Let me make this bigger. No pause. Because if you think somebody needs to pause that means it's that means you need to buy a LeBron James dog. I don't pause for sissy-minded niggas. So anyway, look at the comments. Comment section has spoken, Jason. You're wrong about Nick Fuentes. He says, Nick doesn't say that black people are beyond saving. He just doesn't lie or beat around the bush when it comes to reality. You see, they still talking about black people. You know, he said, I hope Nick Fuentes' beef becomes big because it might push Jason back to reality. I'm sorry, man. Nick Fuentes is right on this one. Try to refute his argument next time. So you see, even here in Jason Whitlock's comment section, that they are calling him out for going Christian instead of going back at Nick Fuentes. He says, this other guy says, you proved Nick right by not making any argument. And that comment got 64 likes. Thank God for Nick Fuentes. Jason knows nothing about Nick. 35 likes. So, look at them. They even use our lingo when talking shit about us. Fuentes is a G and someone who is actually fearless. See, you got somebody that goes, you see how effective we are, black people? At least Nick Fuentes is saying, pal. That's how they talk. This dude using our lingo, calling Fuentes a G. Somebody else, this got 47 likes. Debate Nick or STFU. Ha ha. You didn't actually refute Nick's argument. You just said he's not a true Christian. And then someone wrote, fearful with Jason Whitlock. The day you met him and apologize. So you see here, Jason Whitlock put out this whole video splaining, and his comment section is lighting his punk ass up. Nick is 100% right on this one, Jason. There's zero jealousy, just truth. Then someone wrote, Whitlock has gotten kicked out of the big house by the new owner of Candyland. Someone said, I'm a white Christian conservative and I like Louis Farrakhan and Nick Fuentes. They're actually in agreement on most issues. This is because we truthers are not partisan idiots. Okay. Nick destroyed this guy's mind. So you see here, even on Jason Whitlock's channel, they not fucking with him. I didn't read Nick Fuentes' channel. I read Jason Whitlock's channel. So now we see what he thinks and what they think. What do you guys think? Not in the heart some of that. But I want to know what y'all think. Call in 323-744-7425. Make sure y'all hit the like button. We got over 700 people in here. We got 400 on over 400 on YouTube. That means I need 400 likes. And another 250 on Twitter. That means I need 250 retweets. And hit the love button, by the way. If you're on Twitter, hit the heart button. And hit the retweet button. What do y'all think about what's going on? This token wake-up call. Jason Whitlock is a hoe. And we can say that unabashedly. Because he got addressed directly. And instead of addressing who addressed him directly, this bitch ass nigga went to the Bible. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Dwann. This is Ms. Nisi from Charleston, West Virginia.
Charleston, West Virginia. What's on your mind?
Jason Whitlock is getting exactly what he deserves.
Mm-hmm.
I feel nothing. That's all I have to say.
Hey, that's right. Don't feel nothing. Thanks for giving us a call.
Have a good evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he getting what he wants. He getting what he deserves. But you see how weak he is? He cannot address directly what Nick Fuentes said. Nick Fuentes, Jason Whitlock said, you're a token. I do not answer anonymous calls, so you can call back by unblocking that number. You can call back by unblocking that number. But Jason Whitlock did not address Nick Fuentes directly. He pulled out the Bible like a lot of hoe ass niggas do. When it come time to fight, you want to pull out Peter and Paul. Nigga, Peter and Paul pulled out swords and you want to pull out the Bible. The Bible's not a sword, it's a book. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Dwann Amar from LA County.
What's up, Amar? What's up, my brother?
Yeah. First off, that stuff about Whitlock being kicked out of Candyland had me laughing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, I'm not surprised he's not. I mean, that's his audience. That's who we cater to. Because basically, all this did was expose the audience that he has.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that that a lot of all these bigots and racists are taking Fuentes' side.
Yeah.
You know, it just this is the audience he catered to, and he tried. In his only defense, and I saw someone showed me a tweet. Apparently, his only defense was, "I'm not a conservative. I'm a Christian." I'm like, really, bro? But you got all that you got all that time to go in on Breonna Taylor and black folks and other people.
And then when you have a black father like LeVar Ball, you shit on him that does it right.
Right.
When you have black people who do things right, you shit on them. You shit on Deion Sanders. He's raising his kids. He's not doing any of the ghetto behavior, and you shit on him. It's like no matter what black people are doing, if we doing something successful, he's going to have a problem no matter how we do it.
Exactly. But yeah, that's all I got to say, Dwann. You keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing good work out here.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for giving us a call. Yeah, man. Jason Whitlock. This motherfucker, sorry. What's up, Carter? What's his name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is X. I just want to be anonymous real quick. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just want to say, I just want to make a point now. Is he going to blame single white mothers the way he goes to blame single black mothers and use that same cliche talking point? Since Nick Fuentes wants to be sassy, is he going to blame single white mothers? That's all I want to say.
Real talk, man. Thanks for giving us a call.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, you have an issue with Nick Fuentes, Jason Whitlock. Are you going to go, what's wrong with his society? He coming at you. Does he have a single mother? You know? Do they ever go into the profile of these school shooters and break it down and ask why society, what's going on in society that started them on that path? You dig what I'm saying? What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Daisy from New Jersey.
Daisy from New Jersey. What's on your mind?
I'm not surprised at this at all. It reminds me of the scene in The Hateful Eight where Chris Mannix basically told Major Marquez, when Negroes are scared, that's when white folks feel safe. And when it comes to Jason, Candace, and the whole lot, they are scared Negroes and Negresses that make Nick Fuentes feel safe to say what he says. But on the flip side, to my knowledge, Nick is not white. So Nick needs to tread carefully unless they're going to deport him. And that's another thing about these quote-unquote white adjacent people who are not really white, they're honorary. They do the bidding so they can keep their place. But one thing about white America, the Anglo-Saxons, is they respect loyalty. So if you're not going to be loyal to your own group, what makes you think you're going to be loyal to us? So white America is looking at it like, we sick of all of y'all. All of y'all about to get this wake-up call.
Right.
And the great Paul Mooney said it best. He called it the Negro Wake-Up Call. I like to call it the Graham Cracker Negro Wake-Up Call because the skin is black, but the mindset is far from it. And all of them are going to get their wake-up call one by one. As you said, we need to mind our business, keep educating each other on what's going on amongst ourselves, and let them fight it out. And let the black folks that want to drag us every step of the way, let them have it. And before I leave, it also reminds me of another scene, Tales from the Hood. That last vignette about Crazy K, when he was in that insane asylum with that white nationalist, and that white nationalist said, to the black people that turn their backs on their own, they'll be spared, but they'll live their lives as slaves. This is what we got going on right here. You're turning your back on your own people to live your life out as slaves to these people, but now these people are turning their backs on you because white America will always choose Nick before they choose Jason, Candace, or the rest of them. That's all I got to say. Black folks, stay strong.
Thank you for the call. Yeah, she ain't said not one lie. And she brought up Nick Fuentes' heritage. Nick Fuentes, it says here, was born to William and Lauren Nichico Fuentes. His father, William, has Mexican heritage, while his mother, Lauren, has Italian and Irish ancestry. So on both sides of his family, he's dealing with people who had to flee from their country to come here for a better life. Just like Myron Gaines, just like a lot of these people. You know, these are people who are failures, basically. They're failures. He was a failure in Mexico, and his mom was a failure in Italy, and a failure in Ireland. Instead of rebuilding their homelands and making things sweet, they decided to come here and shit on black people. His family hasn't even been in the United States of America long enough to understand the story of black and white here in America. And Jason Whitlock, he's from here. He's our homegrown coon. Homegrown. He ain't Stephen A. Smith from somewhere else. Jason Whitlock is from here. And this is a strong reminder to everybody that tethers are not our only problem when it comes to this thing. It's a certain style of people. People who are willing to sell out the lot for their own personal gain. And those people exist in both tethers and native-born black Americans. Okay? And yeah, but Nick Fuentes is most definitely a tether. He's a tether on to American culture. He doesn't intrinsically understand American culture because he's new to American culture. And when I say new to American culture, I mean anybody who's been in the United States for less than 100 years. Any group that's been in the United States for less than 150 years. If you've been in the United States less than 150 years, you're new to the culture. If you can point to a grandmother, if only a grandparent or a great-grandparent are the ones that came to America, you're not in this. You don't understand the culture. You mean tell me your great-granddaddy came here? Man, my great-granddaddy was the grandson of a slave who can trace his lineage back 200 years before that. You a Johnny-come-lately if you can only point to a grandparent. I don't care if that's white, black, whatever. If only your grandparents or great-grandparents came here, you're a newbie. You not in this, man, because you did not build this, man. Black Americans, we have a struggle in the plight against a lot of these white folks who, if quiet is kept, can I say it? Chat room, can I say it? Can I say it, chat room? Quiet is kept. Quiet is kept. A lot of them white folks are our cousins. And we got a family affair we gotta fight out. They great-great-great-great-granddaddy had children with my great-great-great-great-grandmama. And they got all the land and we didn't. You want to talk about fatherless homes? We had to learn about fatherless homes when y'all would go around having children with black women and leaving them and leaving them alone forcibly having children with them and not raising them, sending that child to other plantations, not acknowledging your seed. So if black people learn how to leave their children from anybody, it's from you. Remember, understand this. Culture is passed down through behaviors. And if our culture gets passed down from the degenerates that put us in a particular situation, it's going to sometime play itself out in our society. Cool thing is, most black people got over that, and most black men do take care of their children, as evidenced by what the CDC said. Most black people, even if they get divorced, they do have an extended family unit. So a lot of us got over it, but some of us didn't. A few of us didn't get over the bullshit. A few of us are still really trapped into the harms of what got passed down to us through slavery. But same with your group of people. A lot of y'all weren't even enslaved. Some of y'all were. But the Irish that were enslaved got freedom dues. The Irish that were enslaved got freedom dues, and they only had to work for 10 years. And they got reparations when they got free. But y'all did not have that trauma. What's your excuse for shooting up schools? What's your excuse for going to a church in Charleston, Carolina, and shooting up church people, old people in church? What's your excuse for going to Buffalo and shooting up grocery store workers? What's your excuse for going to Vegas to a country music festival and killing 53 white people? Y'all didn't go through slavery, so what's y'all excuse? Let's just tell the truth. So it's not a race thing, it's not a culture thing when it comes to us. Our culture is great. Our culture is everything good with America. Black culture is what allowed Nick Fuentes' people to come over here to the United States of America. Because the United States of America wanted to suppress black progress, so they opened the gates to your Irish and Italian side. They opened the gates to your Mexican side to suppress us. That's why if America wasn't so preoccupied with oppressing us and displacing us financially, the gates would not have opened for you to come here, Nick Fuentes. And Jason Whitlock, have some pride about yourself, nigga. Don't make us fat people look bad. You can be fat and proud. You don't have to be a fat degenerate. Come on, man. Learn who you are. Learn about yourself. Look at the good side of your culture. Look at the side of your culture that's abundantly and more present in your life. Nick Fuentes, you talk all this shit about black people, and I'm sure you've never even been over a black person's house that's in the inner city. All of your black friends, goddamn, act like that one AP nigga that be dancing for food on them Instagram videos. Those are his black friends. Your black friends are Myron Gaines and people like that. Nobody invites the intelligent black man to the conversation. Only the angry black man, the coon, the punk, the sissy, and the weirdo. Those are the only ones that get invited to speak. Those of us who are logical, can think straight, and process our thoughts, and say things with intelligence, we're not invited. Those of us who put our people first, and we're not going to compromise, we're not invited. That's cool. You don't need to invite me. Let us sit back and watch these motherfuckers go at it. Let's watch them form a circular firing squad and shoot themselves. All right? And thank y'all for listening. Have a good one. We'll have another show coming up pretty soon. Watch my show yesterday when I talked about culture. Is it black culture? We had a really good deep dive in the culture, into what culture is last night. on the Midnight Live. Go back and check that out, all right? Thank y'all again for listening. Appreciate y'all for joining. Remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. All you bronzexuals, go buy one of these sissy-ass dolls. But don't come in my chat room defend now. Now, if you're going to buy one to collect and don't open and make sure you keep pristine. It might be worth something in about 30, 40 years. But the fact that they chose to make LeBron James a doll, a Barbie doll, that's further proof about this agenda we've been talking about. The demasculinization of black men. We getting it from all angles, black men. We got the conservatives coming at us. We got the liberals coming at us. They trying to make us look straight up sissified, giving niggas Barbie dolls. It's like, damn. At what point do we get a break? That's a good point. He said he's wearing Air Jordans. I didn't even notice that. I was about to sign off, but I didn't even notice that. Yeah, the LeBron toy is wearing Jordans. They couldn't even put this nigga in his own shoes. Anyway, yeah, El Boulay. We got to watch out for the people that's on their team from all sides. The Democrats got plans, the conservatives got plans. Let's watch out. Thank y'all again for listening. We out.